Apostille story time. This week I had an interesting situation with an apostille. So I had a client that found me on Thumbtack, so I immediately reached out, and in their description they talked about needing a notarization because they were trying to get an apostille on certain documents. So I was in a remote online session, so I text them saying, I'll call you back in about 15-20 minutes. Of course, the notarization ran a little bit long, so it was closer to a half hour. So you know what that means, right? If you don't answer your phone, you don't call back right away, guess what they're doing? On to the next notary. But I still follow up, right? Because I pay for that lead, so I still feel like that's my customer. So when I called them, they said, oh, we got it taken care of. No worries, we went to UPS. And I said, oh, okay, what about the apostille? Because they don't do apostilles. And they were like, yeah, so we're just going to mail it in. I said, oh, you're not in a hurry for it? Because I can do an apostille facilitation or courier. And they were like, what does that mean? So I said, I can actually take it into the Secretary of State's office. First, I need to know, where did it originate? Always got to ask that question. What state? And they said, Missouri. I said, oh, yeah, I can walk that in and get that done pretty much same day, as long as I get it in enough time. And I like to give that office at least an hour before closing. So if you can get it to me like 3:30, that would be great. And they were like, what? You can get this like same day? I'm like, yeah. Again, depends on when you get it to me. If not the same day, next day. You know, I said, well, call me if you're still interested. Of course they call, right? And so I said, oh, you know, we went through the whole thing. I always have my clients fill out a form if they're going to use my apostille service. So I did get have a quick consultation with them to see, you know, if it was going to turn out to be a real situation. And once I realized, okay, yes, they really use my services, I have them go ahead and fill out my form. They explained, I said, okay, what did UPS Notary do for you? And it was a copy certification, but the way they were explaining it, I'm like, well, I can't guarantee another notary, especially a UPS notary. But if, you know, they did everything right, then it should be no problem. I always like to review it first before I take it to the office. So the client said, well, I had done some research and I typed out the form myself. And I'm like, red flag. But yeah, they could type it out themselves as long as it has all the right criteria. But long story short, we agreed to meet that next day. I told them to bring the original documents with them so that I can say that I saw the original if I need to step in and notarize the documents. So they did all that, and sure enough, I'm like, I don't know about this UPS. Since you're not in a hurry, I can go ahead and get it, go to the office and get it apostille. And at the very least, if that copy certification is wrong, I can go ahead and do it because I've seen the originals and I'm a notary, blah, blah, blah. He's like, oh, okay, great. And so we did that. And as we were walking out, after he gave me the documents, he said, yeah, because I'm going to need it translated too. I said, oh, I can help with that. I have a third-party service that I go through that can translate the documents. So I don't think he really believed me. He said, so you can get these documents that you're going to get apostille translated? I said, yes. And he's like, okay. I said, well, let's take it one step at a time. Let's figure this out, blah, blah, blah. So that's that.